Welcome to the Unit 7 odd meter lesson. Awesome, let's get started. So first, let's talk about what odd meter is. So odd meter is basically anything, well, not simple or compound. So there are only two types of beats as covered in the previous lesson. Okay, there are only simple beats and compound beats. When you have all simple beats in a measure of music, we would call that simple meter. When you have all compound beats, you would have compound meter. Now, there are really no other types of metric beats besides that. So, our only other option for a third combination would be to slam those things together, mix them up. So, most odd meters, and now we're talking about the time signature of odd meter. So, most odd meters are broken down into just quarters and eighth notes, but any standard note can be used, so whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. So for our intents and purposes, we're going to focus on odd meters based on an eighth note breakdown, um, where at the end we'll see a popular theme to a movie that's in four. But keep in mind that there are odd meters based on halves and sixteenths, that those are not out of the realm of possibility. So here we're going to look at four of the most common odd meter. Um, so let's go ahead and look at that. So let's look at that first combination we had already, which is going to be 5/8. So 5/8, we have one simple beat and one compound beat. Now, there's a reason there's an extra measure there. See, I want to show you something important about odd meter, is that it does not matter which order you put the simple and compound beats. As long as there's a simple and one compound beat in a measure, it's odd meter. So 5/8 in the first measure repeated would sound kind of like dot 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 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. In the second measure repeated, it would sound like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. And that would be how that measure would sound over and over again. So now let's look at our next one. We're going to look at 7/8. Okay, so you can see there's two ways to look at it. There's ways to look at it of, well, let's add one compound and then another simple, playing around with different numbers of compound and simple, and then adding up all the eighth notes at the end. Um, you can also work backwards from eighth notes, starting with simple. And again, in most cases, in all cases really, it's going to come down to just what the composer wants to use. So the most important thing to take away from this just is that odd meter is a mixture of simple and compound beats, and to just keep an eye out if you ever do see some of these. You'll know how to interpret them. So again, there's a blank measure for a reason. So again, same thing. Does not matter the order of the beats here. Now, example. So there's a third example for 7/8 here. We could have simple, simple, compound, and simple, simple, compound, and we could have compound and simple, simple, compound and simple, simple. But we could also have simple, compound and simple, simple, compound and. So we could put the compound beat in the middle of the simple beats. It does not matter. It's still 7/8. It's still a mixture of simple and compound. It's all good. So here's our next one, 8/8. Now, the reason 8/8 is unique is kind of like the same thing we were talking about in simple and compound meter. So again, 8/8 can get confusing because it does have 8/8 notes, and when you break down 4/4, it can have 8/8 notes as well. Whereas 8/8 is based on um, a 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 sorry 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. So, and this is a popular rhythm. Um, so in most 4/4 pieces of music, you've probably heard that in a bass, like doom, 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 doom. If you think about the piano opening to All of Me by John Legend, that doom, 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 that has that same 8/8 rhythm, but because the melody is centered around quarter notes for the most part and quarter note syncopations, we'd still call that 4/4. Although that opening piano riff is a great explanation of how 8/8 sounds. Um, and again, big difference between 8/8 and 4/4. Really, again, just comes down to the fact that 8/8 is based on 2 compound beats and 1 simple beat, and 4/4 is just based on 4 simple beats. So, and then we come to 10/8, which would be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. Or if we put the big beats together, yeah, you might hear it sound like this. Which might not sound like much right now. But let's look at this. All right, so first, now let's look at what we're looking at with 10/8 here. So at the top, you see 2 measures that are in 5/4. Okay, let me switch that time signature from the top of the 10/8. Okay, now look at the eighth notes. Okay, that looks just like the rhythm that we saw for 10/8 in the last measure. Now let me put 5/4 back up there. The reason why 5/4 is back up there is because the popular this is going to achieve 2 things. In the beginning of this lesson, I talked about a popular theme to a movie that is in an odd meter, and this one is 5/4, and it uses a 10/8 time signature note breakdown. So here's a soundboard, and I'm going to go through each of the sounds. If you have the PowerPoint, you can actually click on these on your own. But I'm going to play each of the sound of the soundboard. We're going to go through each of these one at a time, and I'm going to let you know which each one it is, and we're going to build on these. Here is the first sound, and this is the big beat slow. So this is going to be the dotted quarter, 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 sounding slowly. So you can hear the space in between them very clearly. And this is that same sound, that same beat, but a little bit tempo of the popular theme. And here is that 10/8 breakdown in a hi-hat cymbal so that you can hear what the compound, simple beat would sound like. And it's going to go slow and then fast. Listen for the compound in, simple, compound in, simple. Listen for that in. Now I'm going to put the cymbal with the bass and triangle so the big beat and the breakdown sound together. Again, same as last time, both slow so you can hear all the parts clearly, and then at the tempo of the movie theme. And now, the thing that you've been waiting for, our motion picture, Mission Impossible. And that, everyone, is 7 odd meter quiz. So for this one, you should mostly just be able to tell me if the order of the beats matter, what an odd meter is, and you should be able to define a brand new odd meter based on how it could be possibly broken down. If you have any questions, you all feel free to email me, message me, reach out to me in any way possible, so that I can give you some help and maybe clear anything up if you need to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in class.